Hey everyone, I just wanted to go through and give y'all some notes on our content for this week, week 4, and it's all about leadership. And so, what I really want you to think about as a project manager, working within your group, working, out in the professional field, is that leaders have a few different core activities that they have to do. They've got to, develop and strategize plans, these program plans and implementation plans. They have to design programs, and then they have to lead. And one of the reasons that they have to lead is because they have to be able to motivate their team to show up to work, to perform well, have good quality work, and to get along behaviorally with their team as well. There's certain behavioral expectations. So as we talk about leading a project, think through some of those leadership qualities of the best leaders you've ever had. Make sure you are reading all of the PowerPoints, all of the posted videos. All that information is good. But we're with this module, we're going to kind of learn about ourselves, understand how we are motivated, and hopefully that'll help us be better leaders. So I wanted to touch on a few things with the second PowerPoint here, and it's that project managers have certain fundamental skills that all work together to make them good leaders. So they've got to have project management fundamentals, be able to manage a project. They've got to have some business management skills, communication skills, and technical knowledge. And again, like I said, they have to be able to blend that art and science of project management in their, planning and technical knowledge, and also motivating people to perform how they want them to perform. Oops, my slides aren't working right. Okay, here we go. So there's lots of areas of leadership on a project team. The project manager is not the sole provider of leadership. There might be different types of leaders on a team. For example, in our classroom, I might be the manager of our classroom, but I'm not the sole provider of leadership. Each of you have group leaders and group members that step up and take on a leadership role as you are working on your project. So oftentimes, there's different areas where leadership might be observed. For example, organizational influence. You might have, the president of the company, sponsor of the project, different technical leaders. For commitment, you got to have, the project team has to be committed to it. So areas there will be considered leadership roles, communications, project manager, team leader, and things like that. There's lots of different areas for project leadership. Conflict resolution, you're probably, from what I'm hearing, some teams are having to work out schedule conflicts and things like that, communication styles, technical issues. All of that can come not only from the project manager, but also from your team leader, or by example, from other members of your team. So these slides will give you 12 keys to better project leadership. What I really want you to keep in mind, like the one main key, is that it's about people. We want to put people first. We want to focus on building relationships, understanding how to get our team to buy in to what we're wanting to do so that they can then be intrinsically motivated to succeed. We need to keep a big picture focus and be able to keep our team focused on that big picture, knowing what the end is going to look like before we start and how we're going to get there. Okay, project managers, good leaders, see with their eyes. They have an empathetic view from the point of their team. They earn their team's trust, so they can do that through different behaviors. They can do that through consistency. They can do that through showing respect. And with that, they can also then earn their team's respect. And so they do this through listening, being honest, being fair. And again, that consistency is going to be very important as well. helping their team become successful, anticipating any issues, and providing their team with information and resources that they need in order to be successful in a timely fashion is going to be a really important leadership quality. They take ownership of the project. Good leaders do. They accept responsibility when they've made a mistake or when things aren't going right, but then they also take responsibility for making sure you get your project across the finish line. Again, having those high standards and striving for excellence with the project leader is going to be important. Compensating for weaknesses, being humble and self-aware of your weaknesses, and then having individuals on your team who can fill in those gaps for you. So if you know that you are really strong in one area but not so strong in the other area, you're going to need to make sure you've got somebody on your team that fills in that area you're not as strong, that can fill that gap, and they can be a leader in that area. So I've noticed with some of your groups, some of y'all have people who are the editor because they're really good at those details and seeing those details, and maybe someone else is better with the big picture. And so you've got those two different individuals on the team. Maybe only one of them is calling themselves a team leader, but you've got leadership there from the person focusing on that other area too. And self-control, being consistent, leaving ego out of all projects is a really important trait of project leadership. And it's hard to do, especially when you're new at something. You want credit for what's done right. You want to make sure that you are accomplishing your goals, but leaving that ego out so that you can better empathize with your team members and get things done in the most efficient and effective way is going to be really important. And so one type of leadership we really want to focus on this through all of these readings and these videos that you're going to be watching is this servant leadership. It's not the only leadership style. There are many, many effective leadership styles. This one is sort of, I would classify as a favorite leadership style because you put others first this way, okay? It's a little bit higher integrity leadership style. Again, you can look around at the landscape of what type of leaders you've had, what type of leaders you might see in politics, and there are other effective leadership styles. There are leadership styles that are not servant leadership that get things accomplished, but this one's preferable because this also thinks about other people. Leaders who practice servant leadership first think about their team. Service first versus me first. So prominent characteristics, they lead by example. So they're doing the things that they are asking their team to do. They're not asking their team to do things that they're not doing. They emphasize and pay very close attention to listening. They're patient. They respond. They can put themselves in the shoes of their team or take the perspective of another person. They empower individuals, so they make sure people on their team they give them, the freedom to do what they need to do to get their job done and make sure they have resources, and they allow them to go do it. And this might mean their team makes some mistakes, but hopefully they will learn and grow from it. And that's another aspect of servant leadership, is that they seek growth for their team members. A mark of a really good manager is if their employees come in, stay with them for a little while, and then move on to, a promoted role or a higher level role from their team. If that happens consistently, if you see a manager whose employees are constantly being promoted and going on to, bigger and better things, that's a sign of a really good manager, because it means they've taught their employees, they've empowered them, and they've, been their cheerleader all along the way. Servant leadership also involves soliciting input and feedback from stakeholders. That doesn't mean they can always do everything that the stakeholders or the team member wants or do it in the way that they want, but they certainly want to understand how they feel before they have to make those decisions. Spotlight's a strong integrity principle here. So servant leadership, I want you to kind of read through some of these articles and watch these videos that are posted and see if you can recognize some servant leadership, especially in the Nelson Mandela clip. It's a really good example of servant leadership from the movie with Matt Damon. You know, watch that, think through how he demonstrates that servant leadership. You'll notice he serves him tea first before he takes his own. He makes sure he's comfortable. He listens to his stories and shows him respect and things like that. And I don't want to give away too much because I want you all to watch it and kind of take some notes and think through what that servant leadership looks like. There's also a video you're going to watch about charismatic leadership. And so that's more about how people feel when they are around you. And there's some good video there on Bill Clinton, because he was a very widely known charismatic leader. You know, you've heard people say, whoa, you just feel it when he walks in the room. And so, you know, that's kind of that intangible. It's going to teach you a little bit about some of those intangibles that will make you a little bit more magnetic, a little bit more charismatic, so that people want to, are motivated to do what you want them to do, which is to perform at a high level and accomplish the needs of a project. So I hope y'all enjoy the content from this week. I want you to think through as you're doing your assignment. We're looking at some kind of getting to know ourselves and what motivates us, how we might be motivated. And it's going to help us also think through where we might need to develop a little bit as a leader. So I'm looking forward to seeing your assignments this week. Please let me know if you need office hours. I will be available. I'll have a lot of availability Friday afternoon. If your group needs to meet, you can look by Friday for feedback also on your project definition documents. If you have not already seen that, I am working through those. And then this week is that individual assignment. So let me know if you have questions. Shoot me an email, and I hope you'll have a great rest of your week. Bye.